In 2022, Kendrick Lamar made his return to music with the release of Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers.
Who you think they talk about us?
Now, a lot of commentary has went into the meaning of the album, the songwriting of the album, and everything around the album. But I feel like there's one thing that people are missing. And that thing is a big component of the album and the reason why Kendrick Lamar was away for so long. And honestly, it's right in front of us. Because at the beginning of United in Grief, Kendrick Lamar says this.
I've been going through something. 1,855 days.
Obviously, that's referring to the amount of days that have passed since the release of Damn and talking about how he's been away from music. But to me, this is one of the most important aspects of the album, if not the most important. Because if you get to the root for why he left for so long, you get to further understand the themes and topics of the album. And if we want to understand Kendrick's departure from music, we need to understand what made Kendrick Lamar special in the first place. At the end of the 2000s and the beginning of the 2010s, the common idea was that rap was in its darkest era, with most of the sound heard on the charts being the club boom type of beat. You had Nas talking about hip-hop was dead, you had Jay-Z talking about death of autotune. Everybody just hated hip-hop. And because of this, a lot of people started searching for the new era that would save hip-hop, the era that would bring hip-hop back to its root. And from this search arrived 3 candidates that would carry on the torch into the next generation. J. Cole,
Can't get enough.
Drake, and Kendrick Lamar.
Just call this shit high power.
For the most part, it was Lamar who held the respect of old school MCs.
Got me breathing with dragons. I'll crack the egg in your basket, you bastard. I'm Marilyn Manson.
And in my opinion, he had the most pressure to carry the torch of hip-hop, especially as a rapper from Compton who focused on the lyrical side of rap. It was almost written for Kendrick Lamar to be this generation's Tupac or Jay-Z or whoever. And on top of that, Dr. Dre was the guy that was really behind him and pushing him.
But as far as the substance in hip-hop, Kendrick is bringing us back to that.
And by 2012, with the release of Swimming Pools, it seemed like Kendrick Lamar's takeover was sure to happen. The song was a certified hit on the charts, and soon it was followed by the release of Good Kid, Mad City.
Me and my niggas tryna get it, you bitch.
And I mean, this was the album of the year in 2012 and one of the more iconic of the decade. But in case you think I'm exaggerating and I'm lying or whatever, when Jay-Z hopped on the remix to Bitch Don't Kill My Vibe, the cover art was literally MJ and Kobe.
The niggas wish that I was born there. I'm looking to be the god MC. You look at my hat and see thorns there.
As if to say that Kendrick was the Kobe to Hope's MJ. Even Kobe was calling Kendrick Kobe.
Basketball and hip hop, right? It's like they're married. Is there someone on the court that he reminds you of?
Yeah, it was me.
Oh, can't ask that.
And that idea that Kendrick Lamar was carrying the torch got even more popular when his Control verse dropped, which had people floored.
Same niggas I'm rhyming with, but this is hip hop and them niggas should know what time it is.
That type of energy that Kendrick brought on the track is really the reason why he was hip with young people as well as old people. The oldies respected Kendrick's courage and confidence, and young folks loved some beef. Even me, I love some beef. We need more beef in the world. Hate, embrace the hate. He also called himself the King of New York, which will matter later, so keep that in mind. By 2015, Kendrick Lamar was a star. He had songs with people all the way from Eminem to Taylor Swift. Interesting if you ask me.
Remember when you tried to write me off?
Honestly though, Kendrick Lamar carried. I ain't gonna lie. He would also work on the album that would further cement the fact that Kendrick Lamar was saving hip-hop.
He's getting weak and my gun might blow, but we gon' be alright. Nigga, we gon'
He had the crown. That's what King Kunta was about.
Bitch, where you and I was walking. Now I run the game, got the whole world.
And he was also calling out a bunch of other rappers.
But most of y'all share bars like you got the bottom bunk in a 2-man set.
And in terms of being focused on lyricism and bringing hip-hop back to its root, Kendrick also did that. But I will say, I do think it's pretty funny that he called out all the people who say this though.
critics wanna mention that they missed when hip-hop was rapping. Motherfucker, if you did, then Killer Mike could be black.
Ironically, the lyricism that people wanted from Kendrick Lamar was the lyricism that got him into some trouble.
I'm the biggest hypocrite in 2015. Once I finish this, witnesses will convey just what I mean. Been feeling this way.
The Blacker the Berry had some controversy to it because of these last couple of bars.
Why did I weep when Trayvon Martin was in the street? When gang banging make me kill a nigga blacker than me. Hypocrite.
To explain the controversy would take me like a whole video, I'm not gonna lie. But basically, pointing out black on black crime usually just takes away from the point people are trying to make when they say Black Lives Matter or discussing police brutality, by pointing at something that is bound to happen because of proximity that a race of people will have. Remember this controversy as well for later? I promise it won't matter. Especially because Damn relied heavily on the expectations that were set on Kendrick.
Had a couple of shooters caught a murder case. Fingerprints on the gun, they assuming, but witnesses.
Like for example in DNA,
Murder, conviction, burners, boosters, burglars, ballers, dead, redemption, scholars.
when Lamar like lashes out on the dumbass reporters.
Tell me something, you motherfuckers can't tell me nothing.
Then you got a track like Humble,
Yeah. Hey, I remember.
which was Kendrick Lamar literally humbling himself, especially because at the time it seemed like he was getting the insane praise from To Pimp a Butterfly and he was a superstar now.
No, bitch, be humble.
On top of that, you got songs like Etsets
Yesterday I got a call like from my dog like 101.
that talks about the expectations that were set on Kendrick Lamar, but also he does it in a way to where he brings up the conversation about guns in this country. It's a really good song, but I especially like the skit in the middle of it.
Alright kids, we gonna talk about gun control.
Pray for me.
Because it really shows what Kendrick Lamar had become. He was a role model to young people. And, you know, even me. I remember, like, this one time a dude came to my school to talk about how he met Kendrick Lamar. Like, that was the big inspirational story. He met Kendrick Lamar. It wasn't even about himself, for real. And now we arrive at the 1,855-day break that Kendrick took in between albums. But what was the cause of this break? Why did it happen? And well, I think Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers answers that question for us. In the album cover, we see Kendrick Lamar once again with a crown, but this time a crown of thorns. And a big theme of the album was the concept of Kendrick Lamar being the savior. It was a big part of his career. And I think that was the thing that made Kendrick Lamar leave hip hop.
I'ma say this and I'ma mean this. Nigga, you got the torch, nigga. You better rock it.
He was the guy that was reviving rap from the hole it was in. He was the guy who had the guts to call himself the King of New York. He was picked by Dr. Dre to be next up. And by the time Damn rolled around, the honeymoon phase was over. People had the highest expectations for Kendrick Lamar, and he had the spotlight constantly put on him. It was what it meant to be king, and Kendrick did not want that. After the release of Damn, Kendrick made appearances here and there, but for the most part, he stayed quiet. 5 years later, and Kendrick Lamar drops The Heart Part 5.
I want to say thank you to everyone that's been down with me.
The song mainly revolves around the love and hate relationship for the culture that made him who he is, but it also serves as the prelude to Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers.
I come from a generation of home invasions, and I got daddy issues, that's on me.
A lot of the hype around the album revolved around the fact that Kendrick Lamar had been away from the mic for 5 years. And it was in Kendrick's first words that we knew what the album wanted to accomplish.
1,855 days. I've been going through something.
The album was the soundtrack of the 1,855 days where Kendrick Lamar has stepped away from music.
Love can change with the seasons, and I can't please everybody.
Oh, and when you understand the root of why that absence had to happen, you further understand the project. At the end of the day, Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers speaks on many things, and one of the most important is that it lets Kendrick Lamar let the audience know that he is no better than you and me, and neither is any other celebrity that you may look up to. Or in other words, even though Kendrick can make you analyze his word and present ideas that make you think about it, he is not your savior. Anyways, yeah, shout out to Kendrick Lamar. It definitely felt a little bit weird to overanalyze this project that I don't think should be overanalyzed, because at the end of the day, I feel like Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers is Kendrick Lamar. It's Kendrick Lamar. That's Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers. Anyways, shout out to Jay Dilla, shout out to me, and I'm gonna let the outro roll, so yeah.